5 foods and drinks linked to cancer, what you need to know. Understanding the relationship between diet and cancer risk can be unsettling, particularly when everyday foods and drinks are involved. However, gaining insight into these connections is an important step toward making informed, health-conscious choices. So, what makes certain foods potentially cancer-causing? Should they be eliminated completely? And what are the healthier alternatives? Clinical dietitian Alyssa Tatum offers evidence-based guidance on 5 categories of foods and drinks that have been linked to cancer, along with practical strategies for improving your nutritional habits without resorting to extremes. 1. Red meats. Red meats, including beef, pork, lamb, and venison, have been associated with an increased risk of colorectal cancer, according to numerous studies and public health organizations. Still, this does not mean you must completely eliminate red meat from your diet. Instead, moderation is key. Tatum recommends limiting red meat consumption to smaller portions and enjoying it less frequently. We're not entirely saying, don't eat it, but rather, reduce the frequency and keep portions small, she explains. The dietary guidelines promoted by MD Anderson Cancer Center advocate for a predominantly plant-based diet, where vegetables, whole grains, legumes, fruits, nuts, and seeds comprise 2/3 of your meals. The remaining 1/3 may include lean animal proteins and low-fat dairy. As a benchmark, it's recommended to keep red meat intake below 18 ounces per week, roughly equivalent to 6 decks of cards or 2 softballs in size. Another important consideration is cooking method. High-temperature techniques such as grilling or charring can generate carcinogenic compounds. Burgers or steaks prepared over open flames or at very high heat tend to carry a higher risk than those baked, broiled, or prepared sous vide. When cooked at very high temperatures, meats can form carcinogens that are directly linked to cancer, Tatum notes. To reduce your risk, choose leaner cuts with less marbling, trim visible fat, marinate the meat beforehand, and avoid excessive charring. Plant-based proteins, poultry, and seafood are excellent alternatives for diversifying your sources of protein. 2. Processed meats. Processed meats represent another food group that has been consistently linked to heightened cancer risk. These include meats that have been preserved or altered to enhance flavor and shelf life, commonly through curing, smoking, salting, or the addition of chemical preservatives. Examples include hot dogs, bacon, ham, sausage, and most deli meats. According to Tatum, these products frequently contain nitrates and nitrites, chemical preservatives that, once metabolized, can contribute to the development of colorectal and stomach cancers. Making dietary adjustments can feel overwhelming, especially when these products are part of familiar routines. However, small changes can be meaningful. Tatum advises consumers to start by reading product labels and making informed choices. I recommend looking for healthier alternatives, such as nitrate and nitrite-free deli meats, and comparing options based on sodium and fat content, she suggests. Transitioning to less processed protein sources such as grilled chicken, turkey, or plant-based options can significantly reduce exposure to potentially harmful compounds while still satisfying taste and convenience. 3. Alcohol. The health effects of alcohol are often debated, but when it comes to cancer, the scientific consensus is clear. Alcohol consumption is linked to an increased risk of several cancers, including colorectal, stomach, liver, esophageal, pancreatic, and breast cancers. Alcohol causes damage to tissues over time, which can lead to changes in cellular DNA and an elevated cancer risk, Tatum explains. Though emerging public health guidelines increasingly advocate for avoiding alcohol altogether, complete abstinence may not be practical or preferable for everyone. In such cases, moderation is essential. For those who choose to drink, the general recommendation is to limit consumption to no more than 1 drink per day for women and 2 for men. Reducing frequency and quantity can help mitigate some of the associated cancer risks, especially when paired with a balanced, nutrient-rich diet. 4. Ultra-processed foods and drinks. Ultra-processed foods and drinks have been indirectly linked to an increased risk of cancer, primarily due to their impact on weight gain and obesity, both recognized risk factors for several types of cancer. These products are typically high in added sugars, sodium, and unhealthy fats, while offering little in terms of essential nutrients or fiber. Common examples include packaged snacks, sugary beverages, instant noodles, processed breakfast cereals, and fast foods. Eating ultra-processed foods that are high in calories but low in nutritional value can promote weight gain and obesity, which in turn increases your cancer risk, says Tatum. Rather than striving for total elimination, which may be impractical for many, Tatum recommends a realistic, moderation-based approach. Focus on reducing portion sizes, limiting frequency of consumption, and gradually replacing ultra-processed items with whole, nutrient-dense foods. It's hard to say, never eat ultra-processed foods again. That's often not realistic. But small, intentional changes can lead to significant long-term benefits, she advises. Prioritizing fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and minimally processed options is a sustainable strategy for lowering cancer risk through diet. 5. Foods and drinks with added sugar. Foods and beverages containing added sugars or artificial sweeteners are also indirectly linked to cancer, primarily through their role in promoting weight gain and obesity, both of which are established cancer risk factors. These include sodas, sweetened teas and coffees, candy, baked goods, flavored yogurts, and many processed snacks. While artificial sweeteners have been the subject of research regarding potential cancer links, the evidence remains inconclusive. There have been studies on artificial sweeteners and cancer risk, but the results are still mixed, says Tatum. Given the current understanding, Tatum recommends consuming both sugar and artificial sweeteners in moderation. The focus should be on minimizing added sugar intake, favoring naturally sweet alternatives like fruit, and limiting overly sweetened beverages and desserts. How your diet influences cancer risk. Considering how widespread these foods and drinks are, it's very likely you've consumed some of them, perhaps even regularly. However, occasional indulgence is not the issue. What matters most is the consistency and frequency of these dietary choices over time. It's not like if you had smoked meats last week at a barbecue that you're going to get cancer now. The concern lies in repeated, long-term exposure, not isolated incidents, Tatum emphasizes. Making gradual, sustainable changes, such as reducing intake of red and processed meats, limiting alcohol, cutting back on ultra-processed foods, and choosing whole, nutrient-dense options, can make a meaningful difference in lowering cancer risk over time. Stay informed. Stay healthy. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share for more science-backed health information from HeInfo. Your health journey starts with knowledge. Let us guide you every step of the way.